Now, back in 1986, Greg LeMond became the only American cyclist to ever rightfully win the Tour de France. But his second victory came in 1989, and it capped off one of the greatest wins in the history of sports. A new film, The Last Rider, explores and talks about LeMond's legendary life and his career and his comeback from being shot in a hunting accident to winning the Tour again in 1989. Our Jamie Maggio caught up with LeMond ahead of his film's release.
Man, I went running looking for Kathy because I went there to say, can you believe this?
I can't believe it took this long to put your story out like this in this type of way, because it's just so incredibly inspiring and emotional. What was it like for you to kind of go through this process and relive these stories and listen to the newscasts and watch the old interviews and the race footage?
There's a lot of athletes that will, look at it. They did it all themselves, but there's always there's another side of that story. It's either their parents or a mentor. And for me, it was my wife and my family. My parents, even her mother and father, were incredible.
Bicycle racer Greg LeMond was hit by a shotgun blast while hunting in Sacramento.
You were fighting for your life. They didn't know if you were going to make it through the hunting accident. Just kind of take me through the hurdles that you experienced and what helped you to overcome them.
Getting shot, it was much more severe than we portrayed it publicly. And I think, maybe it's a good part of the story of my cycling career that really hasn't been told. I thought adversity was like getting dropped in the Tour and maybe, how do I make it up? But that's nothing compared to actually fighting for your survival and then having to come back where I was really the top rider at the time, and I came back worse than I did, worse physically than I was when I was 14 years old, getting back into cycling. So that was a very mentally trying period. Really almost broke me.
It's going to be the most exciting end in the history of the Tour de France. This is going to be incredible.
What are you hoping audiences will take away from Last Rider?
I think people want to be inspired. People are made to persevere. And it is a mindset. No matter how bad it is, the environment will change. And I think that's it. And usually for the positive. If you're an optimist and you look at positive life, I'm not saying that's simplifying things, but if you can realize how bad it can be, even financially, you come to peace with it, and then you readapt your life to adjust to whatever that new level is. But people seek happiness.
Now, when you think about it, Greg LeMond might have gotten lost just a bit in the conscience of the American public after Lance Armstrong came about, but he's one of the greatest cyclists ever. And what a comeback after being shot.
I'm kind of wondering, Jamie asked the great question, 89 he accomplished this, why so long to make a movie about such a fantastic comeback story? Glad someone's finally doing it.
Because sometimes athletes, and especially when you are an individual athlete in an individual kind of sport, you just kind of stay to yourself a lot and don't want to be bothered.
There's no question. I think cyclists, tennis players, maybe even golfers, there's a lot of self-talk in those sports where you're really just focused on you, yourself, and more of you, right? As you're trying to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. And so many athletes go through injuries and so on and so forth, but usually they're inflicted on the field or the course or on the road or what have you. But to be shot and come back and accomplish what he did is remarkable.
What a wonderful story this is, though.
Oh, an outstanding story. Can't wait to watch it.
Me too.